All right. Hey, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're at. Welcome to Salt Project Community Open Hour for April 7th. I appreciate you taking the time to be here, whether you're watching via YouTube or here in person. I am Chunga, your Salt Community Manager, and joined here by a lot of members of the Salt Core team. Thanks to all of you for taking the time as well. Let's open the desktop here and we'll get going. Can everybody see that okay? We're good?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Again, Salt Project Community Open Hour for April 7th. Here are the multiple locations where you can find and converse and socialize and do all things Salt. YouTube, GitHub, Slack, Twitch, Reddit, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and I want to give Wayne a shout out. He also said that there should be a Hacks logo on here. I couldn't agree more, man. We'll get a Hacks logo on there, talking about the Hacks podcast, which covers a lot of things with regard to Salt Project and open source in general, and just the industry, the space in general. We think it's a pretty fun show. You might want to check it out. The agenda today, I've got some updates with yours truly. Also, a reminder about the thing, as I like to call it, otherwise the CVEs that are happening. I'm also going to give you an update about some new Salt resources, and then we're going to throw it over to Tom Phipps, talk about what's happening in the community forum, and then our dear friend Wayne, who's looking down on us again like a shadowy specter, will be talking about what's going on with this. There he is. I see him. Thank you, Wayne. All right, let's get into it. Open hour every first and third Thursday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific time. Our next Salt Project Community Open Hour will be on April 21st. Also, I want to take a minute, if I can, and invite all of you, if you're watching again via YouTube or here now, join a Salt Project working group. We have a bunch of them. There are a lot of Salt Project working groups, and they range from security to formulas to docs. There's a bunch of them. I'd like to invite you to go check them out. There's the link right there, and you can access that at saltproject.io. And then there's the ever-present We Want You for Salty 5. Tom Phipps had a great concept, a great idea that I would really like to see flesh out. What this is it's going to happen in open hour. We don't have it today, but we would love to have you tell us what you're working on with Salt. If you're working on something that you feel is innovative, something that you feel is cool and would be a source of inspiration or creativity for other Salt users, we want it. We want to see it. We want you to take 5 minutes and spend some time showing us, because people will see it here. And not only that, like I said, on YouTube, and just another way to show us what a badass you are when it comes to Salt. So, all right, quickly, I think we all know this, but I feel duty bound to remind everyone to take action. There have been some critical vulnerabilities that have been discovered in Salt versions 3004 and earlier. These vulnerabilities range from medium to high. I think you all know about this by now. If you don't, and you need some further information, you can there's the link right there. Go to saltproject.io, security announcements, everything is there. The fixes are there. Everything that you need to get yourself taken care of is all set up right there. So, all right, on to some other things here. I don't want to get into the mucky muck, into the sausage making, but it's been kind of an interesting year so far with regard to Salt budget. I've been able to secure a budget, and because of that, we are now going to be revamping the SaltProject.io website, which is, I know, something that Wayne is doing the, yeah. And I think that's very, very appropriate. We're really excited about this. A lot of us are going to be working on this. So shout out to Elisa Rock, Wayne, Tom Phipps. We have our designer, Emma Shipley, which I think most of you may know Emma. She goes all the way back to the Salt Stack days, pre-acquisition. She worked on all of the Salt comps, and she also worked on the current SaltProject.io site. So we're starting that process next week. We're sitting down and taking a look at everything that it needs. Now, why am I saying this when we're just getting started? Well, I know that there are several of you that may have some ideas or some things that you feel like need to be on that website. So even if you're not one of the names listed here, send me a Slack if you feel like there's something that you strongly feel needs to be on that website or a part of that website, or if you would like to be involved in the design process. I know every one of you is slammed and extremely busy, but I wanted to throw that out there just in case. The goals of the new Salt Project website are going to be to make it much easier for people to start using Salt, make it easier for newer community members, newer potential community members to get in, get going, maybe shorten that learning curve a little bit with regard to Salt. And we're going to do that by making, well, it's going to be really multimedia focused. That's one of the things that Wayne and I were talking about. You're going to have a lot of tutorials and instructionals and ways to get you started really, really easy, and it'll be right there above the fold. Another thing that I think is going to be a high priority is we're going to make sure that the SALT community calendar is much, much easier to access and is much more of a hub and a point of reference for everything that's happening during the typical week with regard to SALT. Again, I go back to the working groups. The calendar currently doesn't have a lot of information about the working groups, but that is going to change. So the new calendar, let's talk about that for a moment. We do have a new community calendar. I neglected to mention that at the beginning of this, apologies. The community calendar is in the process of being revamped as well. In fact, it should be available. The goal was to have it available by yesterday. There was some sort of snag or delay. I'm not sure what happened, but there will be a new community calendar that will be up to date and have all of the pertinent links. And many of you have asked me about this. It will also have an ICS calendar available as well. So that's going to be a huge benefit to a lot of you, and that will be up. It could be up as we speak. So I'll post in Slack once I know that it's up for sure. But you can also keep checking back, and hopefully that becomes a valuable resource. I know for some of you it is. I know for some of you it's just something that's there and it's hard to find, and the list goes on and on and on. So we're going to be sorting that out. If you have any questions about this, you're more than welcome to send me a Slack, and we can chat about it. But all of the working groups will be listed in there as well. All right, now over to Tom Phipps with the community forums update.
I decided to go with a different one than what has been pretty much flooding my inbox all this week and last week. Because we all know there were people that had issues with the update, so I'd rather not go into that. But one of the things that happened over in Reddit was somebody posted a great document about not understanding basically state ID versus name, and not understanding that if you don't put name in a state, the state ID gets passed as the name. So basically I went over yeah, the state ID can be arbitrary unless you don't put a name in, at which time the state ID will be passed a name, which will be passed into the function. So normally what I recommend is to make a state ID be descriptive of what the state will be doing, and to always use name. This way, there is no confusion about what the thing is doing. And you have a unique ID that you can reference. The other part of that was they were confused by you can have multiple states within the same ID, as long as the states use different modules. I don't recommend doing that because it gets hard to read. But yes, Salt can do it. Salt can do a lot of things like that. And if you want to save on hard drive space, I guess those 15 characters are worth it. Yeah.
Okay. Are we good there, Tom? Is there more?
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Good stuff. Much appreciated. And thank you, Tom, for everything you're doing in there. I know you've been you've been getting pounded the past couple of days, so I appreciate it. Now over to Wayne, sitting in the darkness like Batman. There he is. You have you're going to talk about your tests. Is that correct?
Yeah, just a this week in tests. So for as far as test clinics go and some of the things that I've been working on there, today the main thing that I was doing was actually getting I was doing everybody's favorite thing, which was trying to get all my tests passing, because I've got several PRs that are trying to get the test passing. So went through that, had to update a few. I think it was earlier this week, Caleb actually put in a fix for one issue that we had that was breaking tests kind of across the board. And so if you had, I think it was 6 or 9 failing tests, there was a set of them.
Yeah, it was 9.
Yeah, so if you were seeing 9 failing tests pretty much across your test suite, then definitely go update your PRs. But so he was able to do that, so that was able to clear that blocker out of my tests. And then otherwise, it was just kind of digging into things and going and saying, okay, well, why is this not passing across the board here? So I did some of that. And then Tuesday, we actually had a community member, a first-time contributor to SALT, in fact, on pull request 61893, which is updating status.chef. I guess the code there for checking to see if Chef had actually made any changes had gone out of date with what we had. And so Eric Ham actually went in and updated that little check, but they needed some help writing tests. And so Tuesday's test clinic, that's what we did on that. We're able to actually not just test the specific piece of code that they added, which would have been fairly trivial, but we also ended out adding a little bit broader testing so that we could improve the test coverage in that state. So now that, I mean, it's a fairly small state, but still we actually now have, I think, 100% test coverage for it. So that's always a good thing, improving the tests. But yeah, so that's kind of what's been happening this week. Speaking of working groups, as far as tests go, I'm also looking to reboot the testing working group soon. I don't have a specific time frame for that, but if you are interested in contributing to tests and making our test process much better, definitely reach out to me and let me know that's something you're interested in. And we'll start looking to kick that off here sometime in the next few weeks or so. And that's it for me.
All right, very good. Thank you, Wayne. Just going through the chat here. Let's see, forgive me, just give me 1 second here as we hop into the Q&A. I think it was Vic. As for the new multimedia site, I guess I'm somewhat old school, and for me, text content is more discoverable and easier to follow than a video tutorial. Not to fear, Vic, all of it will be available to you. We're just providing more and varied. Again, everyone is in a different space, right? As far as their journey through SALT, to sound ultra cheesy and kind of corny, your journey through SALT. For a lot of people, it is going to be easier to go through video. And so what we're going to try and do is make it palatable for as many people as possible. So it is not an either or, it is definitely going to be both. So don't sweat that. All right, so with that, we'll move on to Q&A, or as I like to call it, Nick time. What do we have today? Does anybody have any questions? Nick, save me, dude. No questions today?
Can you hear me?
There we go. Yeah, now we can hear you.
Hey, all right. So let's see. What do I have? Posting in the chat. PR 61833. This one has all tests passing. Just consolidation of some like human readable file size stuff. So I'm just poking to see if anybody could take a look at that one. Also, while people might be looking at that, there is 61824, which I will post into the chat as well. This one has to do with file.tidied, just sort of expanding that support for some things that, well, actually, it's like, I guess it's trying to get it closer to what CF Engine can do with its tidy functionality, insofar as like having a directory that it's going to try and clean up stuff in, but then also being able to exclude things out of that path as well. So there's just not arbitrarily, cleaning up everything within a directory. And let me see, Dave, are you on? I think I saw you earlier. Yeah, Mr. David Murphy,
yeah, sorry, lots of Davids.
Yeah,
That's why I have to pick the handle Dahi.
he commented on the related issue for that one. And so there's already a PR in for that issue. I'm not sure if you need to have any other information for me, but if you want to discuss kind of what you mentioned about a SAB for that, do you think it really warrants one, given that it's not like changing anything other than file.tidied itself, and not really breaking any backwards compatibility either?
I failed to notice that there was a PR in for it, so apologies there. What I was worried about was when somebody goes to implement it, because it's kind of like describe the solution you'd like. It's a general solution rather than a more precise solution. And so I was afraid that somebody would go ahead and implement, and it wouldn't be what you wanted. So it's like more exact definition. But if you got PR in for it, it is what you wanted.
His more precise definition is his PR.
Yes. So I'll take a look at the PR. I failed to miss that.
Okay, cool. And then the other thing that I had was already answered by Wayne. I had 3 other additional PRs that have the flaky tests. So I'll go ahead and merge the current master on that, and hopefully I'll fix it.
Good stuff. Okay, is there anyone else?
Yeah, I had one. There's one kind of outstanding bug / feature request that is very much a quality of life issue. I wonder if someone, if they have some spare time, they could probably bang it out fairly quickly. So unlike something like Ansible, Salt doesn't have the ability to set Jinja trim blocks and Jinja lstrip blocks on a per file basis. You can only set it globally or not. The problem, of course, with this is that if you set it globally, you will break the entire Salt formula ecosystem. And if you can't use it, it becomes really annoying to do templates, especially for things like network devices, because you have to manage all the white space manually. I had asked the Ginger project if they could address this with syntax, but they were a little less than receptive. So I was wondering if perhaps if someone has some time, they might be able to bang this out quickly.
Hey, Gary.
It's been, yep.
So there is a way that you can put like a top comment, kind of like shebang at the top of a file and lay out your Ginger parameters. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, so as far as I could find, Ansible had something basically, yeah, you add a comment at the top of your file and it allows you to set like L-strip blocks and trim blocks. But
Yeah.
from what I could see, at least in this issue, and I couldn't find any documentation anywhere that said this was possible in Salt.
It is, unless something's changed and since, I don't know, I think the last time I tried it, it was like 3002. But you should be able to do the exact same thing. Just put that comment at the top, setting your different parameters.
Okay, and so sorry, the syntax should be like exactly the same as Ansible?
Yeah, I think it's just like a Ginger rendering thing, not really like an Ansible specific thing.
Oh, okay, because that wasn't. I'll the answer is I'll try it. That wasn't, you know, someone had previously tried it according to the issue and it did not work. But I will try it, and I will, if it works, I'll follow up on the ticket and ask it to be closed.
Yeah, I'm
And then
digging through
maybe
my
do some
email.
documentation.
I think the last time I tried this was in November of 2020, according to my email. But let me see here. So I'll drop this in the chat. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I was doing. So mine looks a lot like yours. So you should be able to put the Ginger 2 comment at the top and it should work. The only reason that it wouldn't, I would gather, is if you have some other shebang at the top, like, you know, for whatever reason, you're explicitly setting, you know, your Ginger YAML pipe for the renderer, that might throw off the thing, but you know, I really don't know. I haven't tried those iterations.
Okay, I will try it and report back, and then maybe if it does work, I'll see about getting some documentation updated.
Cool.
Cool. Thank you very much.
It should be known that Nick is a former SaltProject community champion talking to the current community champion. That's it's like dinner at the Kennedys right here. You guys understand that, right? What's happening? Good stuff. Thank you guys. So does anyone have anything else? Any other questions?
Oh, I did want to point out that if I could get like some sort of special award from Chunga or something like that, because one of the PRs that I have open is to address an issue that only has 4 numbers in it from 2013. So it's a really old fix. So if I put that in and it gets through and merged and everything like that, like I just want like some sort of special Chunga prize. Can I get that?
I'll tell you what. Yeah, Nick, absolutely. I was still working in radio back then. Holy cow. Okay, so if you do that, seriously, if you do that, we've got a brand new e-store that's going to be opening up soon. If you can fix that, you let me know. I'm going to send you a code to go pick out anything you want out of the e-store. How's that?
Perfect.
All right, you got a deal. Done deal. And thanks, Nick, for doing that. Anything else? Any other questions? Comments?
I just wanted to clarify that last request from Nick. So that only happens if the PR is merged, right?
Yeah, you want me to split it with you?
No, I'm just saying, like, if we don't merge it, like, you don't get your prize.
He doesn't get
So
goodies.
I'm trying to find a way to cut you in, man.
I think
if a briefcase
dinner
of
is
cash
on.
shows up on my doorstep, I would
Got like a Patreon account
maybe
or something.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I agree with Gareth on that personally. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, the last thing I want to do is take up more of your time. So, Wayne, you know the drill, if you would, sir.
So What does a pirate say on his 80th birthday?
I don't know.
Hi,
Larry.
matey.
Oh.
Well done. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for taking the time to be here. We will see you a week after next, and much appreciated. By the way, I just want to put this out there. We will have SaltConf information. SaltConf is changing. It's going to look a little different this year, so we will have an update for you on the next Salt Open Hour. I know that pushed you right over the edge. You must be here now. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.